security supervisor?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of the surveillance system in Costco?
Yes, sir.
What caused you to say, I got to call Dave's locking system?
Because our screens, they just automatically just show up and whatnot. So you can see a live feed as far as that's going. But so I went back to look at something that Wednesday. I believe it was either a slip and fall or something at the lockup cage, and went back to replay, and it wouldn't replay. There was no video footage on anything for those from that day forward. You can't tell unless you actually hit back up, and then you have to go back to search for that certain moment that you want.
And you tried that?
Yes, sir.
And it didn't work?
Correct.
As a result of that, you called Vegas Valley Locking System?
Yes, sir.
You talked with somebody there?
Yes, sir.
Did they try to talk you through how to fix the system or get it to work?
Yes, sir. We talked about what was happening, what it could possibly be, and which at the time, Jason, the tech, told me that it's probably a graphics card or your hard drive's burned.
And was he able to help you out as you're speaking to him over the phone to get that to function for you?
No, sir.
I received a call from Shay stating that he was having a problem with the DVR locking up. In that conversation with him, it was determined that it was either a graphics card issue or a hard drive that was failing.
I'm sorry, you said a hard drive?
That was failing.
Failed.
Failing.
Failing, okay. That was your assessment based upon the description that you were given by Shay Lyerly?
Yes.
And that phone call came in on the 8th of July?
It was, I believe so, yes, the 8th. That was Thursday.
And what did you do? What was your plan for solving this problem at Costco? They weren't being able to record anything on their inside cameras at that point.
That was not determined.
Okay, what did you hear? What was the problem that was described to you?
The problem was the DVR had locked up. He was able to boot it back up again. It was up and running. His request was that somebody come in Monday, the following Monday.
The 10th, the day of the shooting, were you ever in the surveillance box before the shooting? Surveillance off before the shooting?
Oh, no, sir. We're floor walkers. We don't use our surveillance systems to watch for things.
After the shooting, did you have occasion to be in the surveillance room with the officers?
With the officers, yes, sir.
And did officers ask to retrieve the videos?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to retrieve the videos?
No, sir.
Did they send out a tech from Metro to help with that?
Yes, sir. Forensics.
And his name was Brian Weiss. Did you meet him?
Yes, sir.
Did he do anything at that time to be able to review those videos?
He did his thing as far as like looking up stuff, trying to look if there was the history, and that's when he also told us the fact that you guys haven't been recording for a while.
Did he try to reset the system for you?
No, sir.
I couldn't search any files. The files that were recorded, I couldn't see any of those files because I couldn't get into that folder.
Okay, and why was that?
It just said unknown error message.
What did you do?
So at that point, my next logical step was to reboot the system. That's just a step we use to try to reset the system, try to see if we can maybe get it working properly.
What happened?
Upon reboot, the system started functioning normally, and you could see files from that point on, and also could see files up until I believe it was July 8th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So from July 8th, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, to roughly July 10th at 15:15 or 17:15, excuse me, there was no files being recorded.
17:15 is military time, so it's about 5:15.
5:15 in the afternoon. I apologize for that. After I arrived, I met with loss prevention personnel by the name of Shay. He mentioned to me that the surveillance system had an error, and it didn't seem to be working. This is pretty common. That's why they call us out. So I took a look at the system. You can search history files to review footage that had been recorded. I couldn't find any for that day and a few days prior to that. So I decided to go kind of the back way. You go into the program files and look for native files that are on the hard drive. And there was a folder but it gave you an error when you went to go access the folder to see if the files were in there.
So you tried to use a proprietary program that they use for video surveillance?
Yes, sir. And I ran into Detective Callos, and he said, just tell me what you know. And so we went back into the office. I explained to him what the steps I had just went through.
He was one of the investigating detectives?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so he looked at the file structure after you rebooted it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you do anything else at that point?
At that point, I was done.
Now, how long were you up in the office there trying to locate any files for that date?
It was approximately 20, 25 minutes. It doesn't take long to get into the system.
And who else was up there?
From what I recall, Shay, the loss prevention technician, was in there, but beyond that, I couldn't remember who was in it.
What time and day was the video turned over to Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department detectives? Or video/hard drive?
At what time of the day on?
What time and which day was the video, and then it says hard drive underneath it, turned over to the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department?
I can't tell you the time. I do not know. I'll have to document that. Once I contacted our computer forensic lab and had them take that particular drive in custody, I'd have to refer to their records. Once I contacted them on the telephone, telling them that we needed to do this because Vegas Valley Locking System, who was alleged to have the proprietary rights to that particular thing, we're going to try to see if they could get the drive working prior to us handling it.
Is it your testimony that you first received a hard drive 2 days after the shooting at Costco?
Yes. When the DVR came in, it was Johnny and Shay bringing it in. That was the only two people that brought it in.
What is the scene that we're looking at?
Right now, you're looking in directly into the store. Remember when we talked about the store faces southwest? You're looking in from towards the northwest. You're looking in at the entrance and the exit into the store. This is that camera that we had spoken about earlier, camera 14. They call it channel 14 or camera 14. They have both names. If you'll look at the site, you'll see it on labeled both ways. We're going to get up to 11 hours. It just takes, sometimes it's a little harder to manipulate this because of the blocks, the way it records it.
Okay, so we've just completed that segment and the screen runs off.
That system just failed at that particular time on that day on the July 8th at 14:26 hours.
And that's the last video available before the shooting.
Well, actually, it's the last video until after the shooting, because until it's rebooted, it's 17:30 hours. There's no video up until then. Now we have external video,
right.
Yes, because that particular drive worked the entire time.
Right.
The internal drive was not recording until he rebooted the system on the 10th at 17:30 hours.
Okay, and are you able to show us that?
Yes, sir, I am. And if you notice on the bottom of your screen again, on the right-hand side, you'll see the hours over there, and it starts at 17. You'll see it starting at 17:30 hours and 42 seconds. That's the scene. That's the next time the video starts.
That's great. And this is at the, I think about 5:30 in the afternoon on
That is correct. It's 5:30 in the afternoon.
And we're looking at the doors are closed. You can see the evidence markers out there. What are we looking at?
What you're looking at right now, if I can approach that, what we have there is numbers, casings, and we have directionality. You'll notice the cones on the ground. There was a blood trail that those cones kind of give us a directionality. The surface of that ground was quite porous, so we really couldn't find to determine which direction they flowed. It was not smooth enough, but we did see blood droplets along those lines, and I had the CSAs point those out so we could kind of see directionality. Over by the basket, you'll see a small yellow tag right about the above handle of the basket. Now there, it just jumped a frame. That's how it does it in those blocks. You'll see that the officers, now the doors are open. If I may approach again, point this out. It's a lot easier over here. Right here, this item right here is item number 1. There'll be a Kemper 45 automatic in this area right here. There's a cell phone back over here.